I love those dear hearts.
Cultural innovations and African American culture, American history, 1920s.
Dear hearts and gentle people will never ever let you down. They read the good book.
As you know from previous class periods, the 1920s were a struggle between fundamentalism and modernism, and two poets took two sides of the issue. Carl Sandburg, a Chicago poet, used common speech to glorify the Midwest and the expansive nature of American life, while T.S. Eliot concentrated on the negative aspects of modernism. Here is an excerpt from Eliot's work that illustrates this negativity. Many writers used experiences of World War I in their works, including Ernest Hemingway in his books For Whom the Bell Tolls and A Farewell to Arms. Most notably, however, was F. Scott Fitzgerald, the man who coined the phrase Jazz Age, in The Great Gatsby, a novel that exposed the superficiality of modern society. The economic prosperity of the 1920s led to more leisure time and more spending money. People could go to sporting events and see Babe Ruth, or Bobby Jones in golf, or go to silent movies and see productions of Hollywood. The Great Migration during World War I of African Americans moving north led to an explosion of African American culture in Harlem. This was called the Harlem Renaissance. Part of this Renaissance involved poetry. Claude McKay and Langston Hughes talked about racism. Louis Armstrong, who came to Chicago from New Orleans, introduced improv, an early form of jazz. And many of these performers came to the Cotton Club in Harlem, a place where African Americans could get a start. To combat the influence of the KKK, W.E.B. Du Bois founded the NAACP, or the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. This, along with black nationalism, started by Marcus Garvey, led to more pride in the African American race. There were positives, however, from the 1920s. Charles Lindbergh's transatlantic solo flight demonstrated safety in flying, and the assembly line, perfected by Henry Ford, gave people access to automobiles. But not all people benefited from the 1920s. African Americans and farmers did not share in this prosperity. Alright, there you have it, a few cultural innovations and a little taste of African American culture. Now, what you need to do, using your notes and this video, answer the questions and hand them in by the end of the hour.